You think you're awkward? But what if the way you rehearse
We need to
conversations
secure
in your
this deal
head is
by the end
actually
of
a
the
sign
quarter.
that your brain operates on a deeper level than you realize? Because psychology says people who simulate social
Wait, did I
moments
say that
before
correctly?
they happen
Reviewing
are
data
not
points.
anxious or
Yes,
strange.
it aligns with the
They are
objective.
detail-oriented
Optimize for empathy
thinkers
next
whose
cycle.
minds refuse to walk into uncertainty without understanding the emotional landscape first. And that habit you think makes you weird might be the very thing that makes you exceptional. The truth is your brain is running a private simulation, not because you lack confidence, but because you're wired to predict outcomes, process intentions, and reduce emotional risk. And what feels like overthinking is actually the mind's attempt to create clarity before reality arrives, giving you a sense of control in situations that would otherwise feel unpredictable or overwhelming. You replay the opening line in your head, not because
so
you're
good to
scared,
see you.
but because your working memory is trying to create a stable starting point.
Pass it over here.
And psychology calls this anticipatory processing, which means your brain prefers to prepare routes before walking them, and you imagine different versions of what the other person might say, because your social cognition network is actively mapping possibilities the same way a chess player reads the board. And even though it feels excessive, it's a rare form of cognitive depth that allows you to navigate social spaces with more accuracy than most people ever notice. You craft whole conversations in silence because your brain hates ambiguity. And research shows that people with high levels of cognitive empathy tend to pre-rehearse interactions to ensure they don't accidentally hurt or confuse someone. And that little script you build in your mind is your way of honoring emotional nuance, reading between the lines, and trying to say exactly what you mean in a world where most people speak without thinking at all. You imagine the worst-case scenario, not because you're negative, but because your threat detection system is highly active. And psychology calls this error simulation, which is the brain's way of preventing embarrassment or miscommunication before it ever happens. And while others mistakenly interpret this as insecurity, it's actually your mind scanning for weak points and strengthening them like tightening bolts on a bridge before crossing it, ensuring you stay emotionally safe. You also rehearse because you experience conversations more deeply than others. Your brain processes tone micro-expressions and hidden meanings at a higher resolution. So running things ahead of time is your way of managing cognitive load,
Oh, I know.
and
but
it's
he
why
insisted it
sudden
was fun.
interactions drain you.
What did she say after that?
But prepared
I know
ones
you're
feel
here. You can't just
smoother
float around my apartment
because
eating all
your
the snacks and
brain
not expect me to
functions
notice.
best
Look,
when it
we need to
has a
set some ground rules before
predictable
the others
emotional
arrive.
environment to work within. And that's not fear. It's emotional intelligence working behind the scenes. Sometimes you even imagine entire conversations that will never happen. And that's because the default mode network in your brain becomes active when you're alone, letting you run mental simulations that help you understand yourself and the world around you. And it's not weird,
I'm
it's
not awkward.
reflective functioning, the psychological process that turns inner dialogue into self-awareness and growth. So the next time someone says you overthink or prepare too much, remember your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's protecting you, guiding you, and giving you clarity before chaos arrives. And that habit you thought was awkward is actually a quiet kind of genius. If this explains something you've always felt but never knew how to put into words, hit subscribe because there are parts of your mind you haven't even discovered yet. And we explore them here every single week.